aftermath of the California college admissions scandal that jolted higher education nationwide, we decided to take a look at some issues that have hit closer to home.
What is the purpose of a college education?
Who gets in? Who doesn't? And why?
Do students compete on an even playing field?
Or are the odds stacked?
In favor of some?
And against others.
There is a system of privilege.
Some win, others lose. And what about equality and opportunity? And our futures?
Today, Oscar-nominated actor Felicity Huffman and Full House actor Lori Loughlin were arrested. And they are just two of the 32 parents, including Loughlin's husband and other wealthy and influential people, criminally charged in a massive college admissions scandal involving 50 people across 6 states.
Applying to college isn't easy. Study for that test, fill out financial forms, write a winning essay, and apply to a whole lot of schools. Now meet one student who did all of that on his own and decided to help others.
The Rubik's Cube isn't the only puzzle that Enoch Jamot has tried to solve.
Seeing my peers growing up and me going through the adversity behind the college process, I just saw my friends put blood, sweat, and tears into getting to school.
Enoch noticed a woeful shortage of guidance and was nervous as the first in his family to go to college.
I would go to my parents to seek information from them, and they were incapable of helping me, you know? And I think that's what the problem is. There's just the lack of knowledge.
Jamot was hardly alone. A 2019 ACLU report said that the guidance counselor to student ratio in New York City's public high schools is an astonishing 357 to 1.
Guidance counselors could only really focus on the guidance part when it comes to emotion, things that they're going through with family, friends, you know, and they could only spend 20% of their time with the college application process.
By chance, Rebecca Cruz, director of Right to College at College Access Research and Action, or CARA, contacted him. It was there Jamot received the resources and training he needed to help his peers.
70 hours of everything A to Z college counseling. So things like how to complete your applications, how to build a college list, how to write a personal statement.
But even that wasn't enough for Jamot.
They give us this month-long program, and then it's my senior year, and now I'm applying to college, and I was still baffled.
And his struggle was documented. Enoch is featured in the documentary Personal Statement, which follows him and 2 other high school seniors as they take on the responsibility of helping their peers apply to college. I decided to meet with Enoch at his school, Queens College, to discuss his experience as a peer mentor.
Independence.
Okay, I love independence.
Were you always rather independent in high school?
The whole peer college guidance thing really influenced my level of independence, you know? You're no longer just a friend. You're now an assistant. You're also their support, you know?
One student's humble beginnings can spark change. From being a peer mentor in high school to a senior in college now, Enoch will never stop helping others.
Just seeing other people succeed is pretty cool, especially when you had something to do with it.
For the Stony Brook News, I'm Nirvani Williams.
It pays to be lucky, but Zhao also got a giant boost. Her parents paid $6.5 million to Rick Singer, the mastermind of the college admissions scandal.
Imagine that your dreams were taken away by someone who simply paid for theirs. That's just what happened here at Stony Brook last year. Junior Stephen Chen wants to get into graduate school the right way. But last year's expulsion of 7 Chinese students for falsifying their transcripts, first reported in The Statesman, is making him nervous.
You gotta follow the rule book. You could have better financial standings and use that as leverage to lower the standards, but you can't be falsifying stuff, doing stuff under the table.
Chen is trying to keep up with his grades and maintain his integrity, but he is worried that last year's admission scam would tarnish his accomplishment of getting into graduate school.
People are going to question, oh, did you get there by the rules?
One of the students caught in the scam was Ruli Jin. She filed a lawsuit against one of the consulting firms accused of selling phony transcripts. I tried calling the firm 3 times and received no response, so I tried WeChat, a popular messaging app used in China through which the firm does its business, but that was also to no avail. A fake transcript can be worth up to $100,000 for any student who is willing to cheat their way into graduate school. WUSB program China Blue focuses on Chinese culture at Stony Brook. More graduate students come to SBU from China than any other country. Its staff said it knew nothing of the cheating scandal.
I actually didn't know that type of stuff is can happen on a campus, a well-known campus like Stony Brook, because I feel like the regulation is pretty serious in United States, just overall. So I was pretty shocked when I first heard about it.
Yuji says these tactics could jeopardize her chances of getting into graduate school.
I feel like because when people are trying to get into grad school, they definitely work hard for it because it's kind of hard to get in because you have to compete with so many other students. But comparing to the students that they kind of pay to get into the grad school, it's really not fair because I'm basically wasting my time and effort to work hard for that spot.
So far, Stony Brook's admissions scandal is not widely known.
Bringing out towards the public is definitely a great way to emphasize how serious this kind of stuff is and kind of warn people not to do it, because I feel like partially people do it is because they think that it's kind of okay, they think the regulation is not as hard and they think they might be able to get away with it.
Stony Brook says a tough admissions policy can guard against similar scandals. Only honest students need apply.
Ethics are very important for us here, and so every student, when you apply to Stony Brook, and a lot of other schools too, when you sign your application, you're signing that everything you put in your application is accurate and true. And so by signing that application to get in, that if we find anything out that is not accurate or reflective of who you are, that at any point in time we can rescind your offer of admission or we can pull you out.
For Stony Brook News, I'm Daniel Marcillo.
Part of the scheme? To fake a disability. That opens a so-called side door for the student to qualify for extended time to take the SAT or ACT.
Would you tell your child to act dumb so they'll be given more time to take an exam? Some parents have done just that. And students with real learning challenges worried their accommodations could be threatened.
Students from the Peer Mental Health Alliance took to the academic mall last month to demand a change for better accommodations for students with physical and with learning disabilities.
Already struggling as this, which is why we're here, to get accommodations in the first place. So when you use that as an excuse, then it's going to make the stigma even worse.
Those stigmas have existed for years. Ben Kriegel was diagnosed in elementary school with a learning disability that makes it difficult for him to read or write. He fears what could happen next.
What's going to happen is school administrators are eventually not going to believe everybody who truly has a documentation of a learning disability, so not everyone's going to have those fair accommodations that I had before. So it's a really disappointing thing that's happening in the country right now.
Without the appropriate accommodations, students who lack the support they need can fall victim to failing grades, dropping out of school, or suspensions.
People with learning disabilities feel like they're different than everybody else. They don't have to deal with the daily struggles that I do, and it's not really fair for them to make these unfair judgments about me.
Shannon Desrochas Rosa has been battling this firsthand. Her eldest two children have ADHD and her youngest is autistic. In her book, The Thinking Person's Guide to Autism, she details her children's struggles in school.
It makes me really angry because that's what gets the attention, and then people think that everybody is doing it, but they're not.
According to the National Center for Learning Disabilities, 1 in 5 children in the United States have learning and attention issues. Stony Brook Student Accessibility Support Center, known as SASSY, tries to make college manageable for students with temporary or permanent mental, physical, sensory, or chronic health disabilities.
Accommodations is leveling the playing field. So it's not giving an advantage to students, and I think that is an older type of theory.
Licensed clinical social worker Wendy Matthews helps more than 1,700 Stony Brook students that are registered with SASSY.
It's allowing students to get accommodations that will provide them equal ground to their peers.
Ben is grateful for his accommodations.
So it was a really hectic process to get these accommodations, but all in all, they've been so helpful for me, and I don't know where I'd be right now without them.
Reporting from Stony Brook University, I'm Ashley Gagan.
The book, written by 2 Wall Street Journal reporters, details the scandal in which at least 50 people, including Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman, committed bribery and other crimes to get their kids into college.
Sometimes you can find the American dream alive and well in the most unlikely of places, like a small storefront in Flatbush, Brooklyn.
In the heart of Flatbush, nestled between Sam Pharmacy and Kay's Grocery, lies the Flamboyant Haitian Literacy Project, an organization that helps Haitian immigrants transition to New York high schools. Shawnee Dawn Romulus was forced to leave behind her dreams in Haiti and move to America in 2014 after her mother died in an earthquake.
I wanted to be the president of Haiti when I was in Haiti, but when I learned that I was coming here in the United States, so I was like, this is a good opportunity. I'm gonna be able to play volleyball and be in a better school, and then I will go to a good college.
When Shawnee Dawn got to New York, she didn't know any English and was stuck in a GED program that didn't offer any accommodations for ELL students.
Every exam that I took, I couldn't pass it. I started reading children's book. That's how I started learning English. I looked to different websites. That's where I learned English. I literally studied from learning how to spell my name in English and from learning the part of my body. I was this student. I was a good student. I literally had great notes in Haiti. Now I can't do anything. I literally felt very, very dumb.
In New York State, the overall high school graduation rate is 78%. But for ELL students, it's 37%. Even more startling, only 1.4% of ELL students even take a college entrance exam. Nancy Adolph, the campaign manager at Flamboyant, says this is because of all the other stressors immigrant students have to deal with.
Our students have to work sometimes, they have to take care of their family, they don't have enough time for tutoring, they don't even have access to tutoring sometimes, which I feel like other students have access and they don't have. You have to be fluent in the language in order to be able to fully understand what the materials. And in college there's a lot of reading, a lot of writing, so a lot of grammar, so they have to prepare all that. Every student should have the same exact choices.
Forget stressing about your college acceptance letter. For immigrant students, even getting into the right high school is up in the air.
It's kind of difficult to even think about college because that first step is it's still shaky. We don't even bring it up. Let's get into high school. Let's get that high school diploma. Then we can think about college.
When Shawnee Dawn isn't taking classes at Borough of Manhattan Community College, she's working part-time at Flamboyant to help students who are going through the same things that she did.
Working here, giving me the opportunity to give other students the opportunity that I didn't have. All the struggle that I went through, I don't want students to went through the same struggle. I don't want students to wake up every day and cry and feel dumb the way that I felt dumb.
For Stony Brook News, I'm Liz Pulver.
Getting kids into elite schools, according to prosecutors, included fabricating profiles for applicants posing as student athletes, even photoshopping faces of clients onto bodies of athletes.
For most varsity athletes, the dream of stardom ends at graduation. But what comes next?
The fast-paced lives of college athletes are often glorified. But beyond the bright lights, there's a dark side. One that Stony Brook point guard Jerron Cornish knows all too well.
After the season ended, I was kind of confused because I don't know what to do with my degree.
Cornish, who is from the Bahamas, plans to graduate this month and said that while basketball got him to Stony Brook, he's unsure of what to do when he leaves.
I mean, without basketball, I probably wouldn't be here at all. So, I mean, basketball really, in a sense, really saved my life to get me from there to here and give me a degree, although I'm not going to use it. I got a hell of experience from it.
While Cornish's post-college journey has only just begun, Lowell Robinson, a former football star at the University of Pittsburgh, began his more than 10 years ago and is still filled with doubt.
By Lowell Robinson, a dangerous return man, and Robinson shaking free. Gets around the kicker. Gets into West Virginia territory down near the...
So, I really wasn't prepared, really. Just had a lot of passion. I spoke well, things like that. But as far as the job structure and just knowing what I wanted to do myself, I literally had no clue.
It's a common fate for many student athletes who are unprepared for life after their athletic careers end. Many dream for a chance to play professionally. Yet, less than 2% make it, leaving others with a sense of hopelessness.
I didn't know if I would have the chance to go on and play pro. So I was in a period where I didn't know what was going to happen next or where I would end up or how my future would be.
Going through like a little depression, I guess you want to call it, just feeling like football's over. I'm not hearing nothing from no scouts, you know what I mean? So then it was just like I kind of exiled myself.
Lauren Aksionov, the academic advisor for both the Stony Brook basketball and football teams, said that with these stats in mind, there are plans in place for students who aren't part of the lucky few.
If you want to be an engineer, mechanical or civil, whatever the case may be, we're going to put you in the classes that are geared towards that. But that is our focus, because ultimately I think it's 2% of college athletes become professionals. You need a plan, and it's not even a backup plan. It is your plan to graduate with an excellent degree and do something with it.
But Cornish and Robinson say that's not always true.
I wanted to do psychology when I transferred in, but my credits wasn't enough to transfer to be a psychology major, so my academic advisor put me in sociology instead.
They'll put you in general studies. You know what I mean? They'll put everybody in general studies, and then one thing about me, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I came in there. I knew I wanted to be in some acting or something like earlier journalism or speaking, sports analyst is something that I've kind of always loved to do.
Despite Robinson's career ambitions, he was put into a major that just didn't set him up for success following graduation.
You have all these dreams, but the realization comes into you having to work or, get like a job or something like that. The problem I was having was that I was either overqualified. Some of the jobs, you should think I was either overqualified or I didn't have enough working experience.
Stony Brook Athletic Director Sean Hilburn says stories like Robinson's are common, and after hearing them time and again at his prior institutions, he's been compelled to do something about it.
The worst thing that can happen is for us not to prepare our student athletes for life after their sport. And I learned this at Oregon State, where we had a number of football players who graduated and had no experience on their resume, were not prepared for the real world. So that's one thing that's been very important to me, is how we prepare our student athletes for the real world. And we created a life skills program that helps our student athletes with networking, with resume preparation, professional development, that has really helped our student athletes think about life after their sport at a much earlier time.
He taught me a lot. I'm gonna miss this boy. I know he's gonna be successful.
For Cornish, these services may or may not be of any assistance.
I think it's valuable just to have a degree, but in terms of my future, I don't know exactly how I'm gonna use it as yet, but I'm glad I got it in general, because most people don't have a degree at all.
But for Robinson, now 34, with 2 of his own kids and no services like life skills available, he's had to do things on his own, something he talks about openly in his music.
By any means, young boy growing up, your mama was a fiend, but it's all good. I'm just paying my homage, even though I have some problems. I still made it to college. Single mother.
So funny. My boy was telling me yo, you could be walking in the street and people who really understand what it is, they'll be like, yo, you like a real performer and shit like that. I never really didn't understand the whole complexity of it.
Robinson, who performs under the name Akil Ali, says he hopes his music and advocacy in the community can help a younger generation of athletes avoid the same trap that he fell into.
Get a chance to tell my story. I hope that people could learn from some of my mistakes and certain things I wasn't able to capitalize on.
The Gridiron was once the place he called home, but now he's found solace in the studio, sending a message of perseverance through his lyrics. For Stony Brook News, I'm Kwari Aline.
Mama so proud she could cry, 'cause we've been through a lot and that was good vibes.